I'm getting ready to start repairing this old table. There's a few things I need to fix, one of which are these slides. You can see this one is actually off to the side. From the looks of things, they've been drilled in a few different times. There's a bunch of random holes along here. So I'm gonna have to find a clean place to put these to where there aren't old holes. So I'll probably move them slightly inward. So that's one thing I gotta do. The other thing is the leaf supports, or the drop end leaves. The supports are all bad. They got a bunch of random stuff. Looks like they've been fixed numerous times over the years. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna install these. I bought these on Amazon. It's just like a hook, and what will end up happening is I'll have to put a hole in the apron down here for this to go through, and it'll essentially mount down here. It'll pull out and support the table such as that, and there'll be one over here, there'll be one over here, there'll also be one on each end of here. So these will just slide out, support the table leaf, and we'll get rid of that old mess that's on the ends. There's just a bunch of random things on there. An old hinge. I don't even know. So that's what we're going to dig into. Cutting the notches in these aprons could be a little bit of a challenge without taking the entire top off, and I would prefer not to do that if I can avoid it. So, because there's some old screws, I'm a little worried that maybe these screws will break off. They're a little rusty. If they break off, I may have some difficulty extracting them the rest of the way. It's pretty stable the way things are, so I may notch it out with a chisel. We'll see what we get into here. So that's the plan. Hopefully it all comes together okay. The first thing I need to do is get these off and figure out where these are going to go, so then I can figure out where these are going to go. One thing I want to do before I start taking this off is I'm actually just going to mark this. It might not matter. I just want to know where it was in relation to the edge. So that one's done. This one's a bit stubborn. I have a few issues I'm running into here. One of which, there's a bunch of screws in here, and I think one, if not more of them, are stopping this from extending the full way. The other thing is these two screws that are here, man, they're in there tight and they're old. This is why, again, I didn't really want to dig into taking this apron apart to cut those notches out for these new supports. Getting them out could be extremely difficult. There is a high chance that they break. I got that one. This one might be a little more stubborn. Well, I may have to pry that one apart. I hate to do it, but it is not wanting to move out of there. to be careful. There we go. So, I still don't know what's holding. Still not sure what's holding that from extending the whole way. Definitely want to try to figure that out. So I had a little bit of an issue. There was a screw that was down in here, and it was stopping this from sliding. Sorry. It was stopping the sliding motion. So I got that screw out with a little bit of, I had to use another screwdriver. It's kind of like a wedge because it was kind of just stripped and stuck in there and spinning. And I encountered another problem. So there's dowels that act as stops, and this dowel's gone. And so if I were to keep sliding it, it'd just slide right out. You can see. So what I've got to do, I've got to put a dowel that'll fit in this groove, or else we have two pieces. So there's a hole here. It looks like it had busted off at one time, and somebody had sunk a screw down through here to try to hold that in, and I don't think it held. So that's probably why all those other screws were in there. So I'm gonna probably try to drill this out and see if I can get another dowel to fit down in there, or some sort of peg that will act as a stop. So that's what I'm gonna work on right now. We'll see if I can get it to work. I'm gonna attempt to drill a 3/8 hole right here. I'm fearful that the hole that's there is already bigger than that. We're gonna see what happens though. We might be okay. I think we're gonna be okay. I'm gonna go deeper here. But I'd like to stop a little bit short. So we're gonna go to about right there. I think that's gonna work. Okay, so it's just got a regular 3/8 dowel for this. Alright. It's about as far as it's gonna go. We may have to cut the top off. We'll see after it dries if it slides in or not. But I think we're gonna be okay. Yeah, it's a little bit too tall. It should be fine though. So hopefully that fixes that problem. And we can move on to attaching these, and then the whole thing will be done. So I measured and marked about where I wanted these. I just came in 6.5 inches. That should clear the mounting screws on the other side of here. Should also give me enough room to remount these for the leaf sliders for the leaves. And so I'm going to cut these in. Trying to figure out the best tool to do so. I thought about using a rotary tool. I don't really have the right bits for it. So what I'm going to do is use this kind of handy tool. It comes in real handy when you're cutting in outlets, things like that, on remodel jobs. But this bit should fit right here on the same length as the line. The only concern I have is that the horizontal line, I'm probably just going to come in at an angle, or cut in from the back side a little bit to try to keep it clean. I can also use a chisel for some of that. So I just didn't want to chisel the whole thing. It was going to take a long time and still might not work great because this appears to be an old oak table, and I don't know how easy it would be to go through this with a chisel. So we're going to cut this and see how it comes out. I don't anticipate any problems, but you just never know. So here we go. Well, I have it cut loose. I'm just going to try to knock this block out of here. There we go. So there's the piece. We'll see how this fits. I don't know, that wasn't completely the straightest cut. Well, it fits. So as for mounting, it's going to mount as far forward as I can go. I'll be able to grab a hold of this, and it should support it quite well. Get the old hardware. I like that a little bit more. I think it'll be okay, actually. Okay, so there's one. We got 3 more to do. So I got this dowel glued in, as you can see right here, and it is supposed to slide into this slot. Not sure how well that is to see, but it'll slide right into that slot right now, and it's a little bit too high. So what I need to do is trim off just a little of the length here, and there we go. So now it stops. Slides right down into that slot that's right here. There's one right here. There's one right here. So hopefully that lasts a while. It's definitely better than it was when I got it. The next thing I need to do is figure out exactly where these are going to go. I need to have these mounted. Oh my, I just realized something. These cannot line up because they will hit. Well, that's going to require some modifications, it looks like. I'm going to get these other things mounted here while I'm on this. We'll worry about that later because all I have to do is stagger them about 3/4 of an inch. What I'm going to do, I'm trying to line this up pretty close to where the existing holes used to be, just offset a little bit towards the middle of the table. And I just want to measure, see if I can get a consistent measurement here. That is pretty close. So I am going to screw this in, and hopefully this will be how we want it. Found some screws that were similar size to the the old ones. They are about an 1/8 inch longer. I felt there was actually enough room that the 1/8 inch wouldn't matter. Okay. So I'll do the same thing up here in the front one, and then I'm gonna have to figure out these offsets on these drop leaf supports. So I wanted to show you a little closer view of the mistake I made. So I got these, they're supposed to mount in here. They got them clear. They have these like catches on the sides, and so I can't have them hitting. So it has to definitely clear. They have to be mounted slightly beyond where this drop leaf comes down, so the drop leaf will lay flat. And the problem is where I need to mount it, because I lined up the holes on the opposite side, the bars are going to hit. So you can't ever have both of them open at the same time as it is. This stuff just happens. I guess I could have foreseen this, but those of you who are out there and are woodworkers, especially when you're working on older furniture, you're going to run into unforeseen things that you have to work with. So basically now we're at the spot where, what do? I think that the best thing would be to get this mounted, get one of them mounted so they're offset, so that they slide beside each other. So that's what I'm going to aim to do. What that's going to mean is I'm going to have to widen the holes. I don't really want to make the second hole, one side, twice as wide as the other side. I'm thinking probably that I'm going to widen each one a little bit so they stagger. I'll maybe widen this one this way and widen that one this way. And that way both the holes are going to be wider. It's going to be a little extra cutting. However, you won't have one side that has excessively wide holes. And I think that's what I want to go for. So, a little bit of modification, and we should be able to recover to this. So I was going to get this mounted, but the old hardware, it's hitting. This has to come off. So I'm going to pop that off. I let the guy know who I'm fixing this for that some of this is going to have to come off, and some of the stuff that wasn't there before. This is not original. It was an add-on. Somebody had tried to fix this, so I let him know that there's a good chance that if he wasn't intending on painting it, he's going to end up having to paint it, because we're going to expose some stuff that wasn't exposed before. I have a feeling that screw is longer than I thought. All right. So let's back this out. There we go. Now we should be able to pop the rest of this off. And this is an original, I might as well get that off too. It ain't gonna do any good anymore. I don't know what to do with these metal things. I hate to take them off. They're part of the original table. They aren't gonna serve any purpose anymore. Except for maybe getting away. I think we're gonna have to take them off. It doesn't allow it to open the whole way. I don't really know how this originally was. There's some kind of bracket that was here. So originally there was some kind of bracket here that this would have clipped into, but this won't allow it to stand. It's just slightly kicked out. Don't love it. So I think I might remove it. We'll leave this piece on here. See how these mounting screws are that came with this. I think we're pretty good right here. So let's get the rest of them on. Oh. Shoot. Well, I may have to shim this. I think I'm gonna have to shim it because this board right here is a little bit cupped. And when I sunk that screw in, it drew it down too far, and that's going to be a problem. Because it's going to rub really bad. So you can see it doesn't want to move with it that tight. It's really pretty stable. I think we're going to be okay as it is. Mount this other one. We've got a really bad cut to this board. I don't know if it's going to have an effect on how the table's going to be. I have no idea. I've never seen this table together really. It came to me in pieces. So hopefully we don't have the same a problem as when I flip this over. All right, so I got a shim. A little bit too long to work with here. Let's see what happens here. It gets tight, but it's not horrible. All right, this one I'm going to screw through now. Looks pretty good. Okay, those two are done. We're going to flip it over, do the other side, and hopefully everything lines up. So, I actually forgot that this side, they replaced it with a hinge. So they bought it, the hardware, for $1.49. Sticker's still on it. They took the old hardware off. I'm assuming that they don't care about the old hardware. So I'm not quite as concerned now that I have the other one on and it was kind of being restrictive. So I will most definitely take this off and take these off and get it down to something I can work with here. I'll come over maybe 3/8 this time. I don't think I need to go quite as far. Okay, one more. Okay. Need to set the depth here where I want this. I think I need to take this hinge off. It's hitting this piece of wood. So I'm gonna do that. All right, so that actually works pretty nice now. So I feel pretty good about that. I can set where this is gonna go. Needs to be back in there. All right, so they clear each other. That's good. Now, that's good. Time to take that other piece of hardware off. I think it's okay. Moment of truth here. We are going to put this on the floor and see how it looks. So it's together, at least. The top is not a thing of beauty, mostly due to it being so old and these boards being warped. There's a crown in the center right here, but you got to work with what you have. So for these leaves, leaves work quite well. Not sure how easy it's going to be to try to separate this. Might be a two-person job. Put the center leaf in. Now let's see if we can get it closed. Closing's a little easier than opening this. All right. So there we go. I won't say good as new, but it's about as good as old can get, I think. So that will conclude this. So that concludes the repair of this old table. Every one of these are a little unique when you go to restore old furniture or repair old furniture. You never know what you're going to get into. So it can be a little intimidating, especially if it's a family heirloom. There's a little bit of pressure to not make a mistake. So if you can get past that and just try to plan it out, you can turn it back into a functioning piece. So I think I learned a little bit on here. I've never actually used those drop leaf table supports in the past. I found those on Amazon and they work quite well. So I definitely will use those again if I ever need to. It was a little bit of work getting them in, but that was mostly due to a dull blade on that saw and plus some really old hard wood. So aside from that, I mean, you saw me make a mistake with the lining up of those drop leaf supports. It just happens. I'm not perfect. I am not going to come on here ever and portray that I am a perfect woodworker. You're going to make mistakes. The key thing is learning from them and trying to avoid them the next time. I know, I grew up watching Norm Abram and New Yankee Workshop, and everything he did seemed perfect. And I'm sure there were plenty of mistakes that were made that got cut out, but I'm not going to cut those out. I think that it's important that woodworkers can see that, I've been woodworking for, man, how long has it been? Over 20 years. Oh, 30 years. Over 30 years. And I still make mistakes. And you just, like I said, you got to figure out a way to work through them. And I don't think we did any extra damage on this. People will never see those cutouts where those drop leaves set, because the only time you'd see it is when it's up, and there's no reason to look under the table. And there's a lot of other flaws in this table that look worse than those cutouts. So it really didn't matter in the end. I would have hated to have something done to the top that made a mistake drilling through the top or something like that, which could have been risky putting those screws in. I was a little bit nervous because I didn't have the exact same length of screws as what were used. I did not want to use the old screws. Those obviously were a problem. All in all, I think it turned out really well. I think the guy will be really happy with it. Down in the comments section, tell me about something that you have restored in the past, and even if you had a problem, I'd love to hear about it. Other people need to hear about it too, so everybody realizes that there are other humans out there that make mistakes. Outside of that, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the little bell so you get a notification every time we have a video. And there's going to be an end card that pops up, a few more of our videos. Would love for you to keep watching. Check out some of the other stuff I do. It's going to vary every time. I do a lot of custom work, so who knows what you're going to see next. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.